All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Pardot Super Session, Accelerate Pipeline with Pardot, Salesforce's B2B marketing solution. I'm Adam Blitzer. I'm one of the co-founders of Pardot. Now serve as the GM of it as part of Salesforce.com. You'll also hear from a few special guests today. You'll see a demo from my partner in crime, Derek Grant, who's the VP of Sales at Pardot. Now, before we get started, since we're a public company, you've seen this many times during this week, I have to show you a safe harbor statement. You're going to hear some forward-looking statements. Please make all decisions based on what's generally available today. When you see a statement like this, you're not going to think this, but for me, it actually brings me back to my childhood. And imagine a 5-year-old Adam Blitzer, maybe in a suit like this, a glorious flowing mane of hair, a little short for his age, and I say to my dad, "Dad, do you think I'm ever going to dunk a basketball?" And he said, "Son, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything." And I look at him, and my dad is bald. All other men in my family are bald. And I'm like, "Dad, do you think I'm going to hold on to this flowing mane of hair?" He's like, "Son, if you put your mind to it, anything is possible." So fast forward 30 years, and I remind my dad of that conversation, and he's like, "Oh, I said all that stuff under safe harbor." So I have a son who's 2 years old, and I can't wait to do that to him. So I love to show this slide because what makes Dreamforce so special for us is you. It's our customers. You are the oxygen that really gives our business and our products life. Tremendous ideas come from you, tremendous feedback. It's a partnership, and we love having you as customers. So thank you so much. We've been part of the Salesforce ecosystem since our inception 7 years ago. And we've now been part of the Salesforce family for just over a year. So thank you to all of our partners, customers, employees for just making it an amazing past year. So we are the leader in B2B marketing automation. We work across segments. We work across industries. You'll see we work with clients both small and large, from hot tech companies like Docker to very large publicly traded companies like Fujitsu, Stanley Black & Decker, and a great company that you're going to hear from today, Precor, one of the leading manufacturers of fitness equipment in the world. And we're committed to your success. Again, I mentioned customers are the oxygen that gives products life. Our ideas come from you guys. We're big proponents of the idea exchange, and almost everything we add to the product comes directly from a customer. So we have not rested on our laurels over the past years. We have stayed busy, and we're excited that 7 out of our top 10 ideas on our idea exchange will be retired within the next 6 months. I will not be retired within the next 6 months. I will get to work on the next 7 out of 10 ideas for you. So first, before we get into the demos, I want to talk about why we're all here. We're trying to align marketing and sales better than we do today. And this is really the fundamental problem around which Pardot was built. The way buyers find information has changed, and it's changing at an incredibly fast pace. You look at all these channels listed on this slide. 10 years ago, there were very few channels through which a buyer could find information. Today, new channels are rising up all the time. With social, that's exploded. Paid search, natural search, sales reps being a source, a lot of different ways, and it's a lot for us as marketers to keep track of. And frankly, we don't control all parts of that journey anymore. And the role of the sales rep in that buying process is also changing. Today, almost 2/3 of the buying journey is over, typically, before a sales rep gets involved in the process. And this is only going to continue to increase. So it's estimated by 2020 that'll increase to 85%. And this is just, again, it's the amount of information at the fingertips of all prospects today. They can do a ton of research on their own. So you see that, and you think, is that really the right model? And when you actually survey prospects, that's not necessarily what they want. Prospects really want sales reps to work with them even earlier in the process. But they want to do their own way of finding information. They want to do a mix. They don't want the sales rep to fully control it. They want to be able to do things on their own. They want a sales rep available instantly when they have questions, when they have inquiries, and you'll see more than 2/3 of prospects really want sales to get involved earlier in the process. So this is a sales funnel or a marketing funnel that we all think about. And today, most sales reps are getting involved in that convert stage. Prospects really want them to start in the attract, the engage stage, and move them along through the sales funnel. But this is not easy. And you see what most companies face. The vast majority of companies haven't defined what their funnel is, what content they use to push people through that funnel. The vast majority of leads never make it to a sales rep. Think about a lot of exhibitors exhibiting at Dreamforce. Do they all have great systems to get all the great leads that they're generating to their sales team quickly and effectively? Many of them do. Many of them might not. And reps aren't winning enough deals. When sales and marketing are not aligned effectively, reps don't have the information they need necessarily to compete. And then, of course, the last stat, a lot of revenue is lost as a result of this misalignment. And most of it comes down to process and systems. So on the process side, there's either no process, so no sales and marketing handoff has been established, no common definition of a lead or a marketing qualified lead or a sales qualified lead has been established. Marketing and sales typically work in silos. Marketing and sales sometimes work in different buildings. The closer you put those two together, the easier things will be for you. How many of you guys in the room would describe yourselves as B2B marketers? How many of you guys have compensation tied directly to sales results? All right, so about half of the first set of hands that went up. So that is really progressive. And I think when demand generation, when they start to really tie themselves to the same key performance indicators as sales, I think things are going to be pushed forward a lot faster. And then, of course, systems typically are still disconnected. When your marketing system, your sales system, the farther apart they are, the harder this is to do. So I just set myself up with a softball. So what do you think the answer is going to be? All right, that was really easy. So Pardot is Salesforce's answer to that question. Really, it's the B2B marketing automation platform for our company. Now, how many of you in the room knew it was pronounced Pardot? Be honest. How many thought it was Pardot? Be honest. Great. Okay. It's fine. There are always some people, they call Target, Target. I heard someone call Vonage, Vonage, which was kind of a new one. And then last night, someone next to me grabbed an Uber, which we might know as Uber. I made the last one up, obviously. So Pardot, believe it or not, we founded it in 2007, and all the good domain names were taken. So we looked on dictionary.com, and we wanted it to mean something, so we looked up to market. And the first 26 translations were taken. Lucky number 27 was Latvian for to market or to sell. It fit our budget for a domain name perfectly because it was $8. We then spent $150 on our logo, and we were in at that point. Said to my co-founder, we need at least a 3x return on this investment. So with B2B marketing automation, the stats are really compelling. You'll see faster revenue growth. The number of qualified leads goes way up. Your close rates go up. And you can follow up with leads much faster. And you'll see the 60% increase in follow-up within 24 hours. And I would actually put it to you that follow-up within 24 hours is really poor. To think about that as a good follow-up time. There's a great stat by another app exchange company called InsideSales.com. They do a lead response survey every year where they kind of do a mystery shopper of 14,000 businesses. And they find that if you follow up in 30 minutes instead of 5 minutes, your chances of contacting that lead go down by 100x. So just from 5 minutes to 30 minutes, your connect rate is down by 100x. That's amazing. In spite of that, they found that the average response time was something like 60 hours. So 60 hours to get in touch with a lead. And that's just not cutting it. By the time you do that, you're into that deal second, third, fourth, fifth. And we've also seen stats that the first person into a deal wins it almost half the time. And you might think, can I really win just by being first? If you think about it, when you're into a deal first, you're playing offense. Your competitors are playing defense. they're reeling. You're setting traps for them. You're playing to your strengths. When your competitor's in first, they're shaping the conversation, and all of a sudden you're backpedaling. So just by being in first and enabling your reps to be in first, it's a huge, huge advantage. So we're dividing this presentation into 2 vignettes. The first is Market Smarter, and we all want to do this. There's a great quote from the CCO or the Chief Creative Officer at J. Walter Thompson. We need to stop interrupting people and what they're interested in and be what they're interested in. And this is really all about personalization for B2B marketers and driving deeper personalization. We have so much data from our marketing system. We have so much data that sits in Pardot related to activity. We have so much data that sits in Salesforce and the Sales Cloud related to demographics, related to purchase history, et cetera. And what if we could use that to really tailor a message to each individual prospect? So you as a marketer, you're sending out one campaign. Maybe you're doing an A/B test, you're sending 2 versions, but the email is all dynamically personalized based on the data you have in Salesforce, based on the data you have in Pardot. And of course, you can enrich these data sets automatically with data.com to continue filling in data behind the scenes. The second piece to marketing smarter is to just make better decisions based on analytics. So it's having some accountability between your 2 teams. Marketing typically is generating a lead, and in the B2B world, that lead might not turn into a deal for a year, for 2 years, maybe 6 months. But in any case, it's a long time. So you need to be able to tie that lead all the way through the process to revenue. And that's how sales can hold marketing accountable. Marketing can hold sales accountable. Of course, you're going to optimize your content. You're going to see the life cycle of your prospects. If you don't measure something, you can't improve it. So if you don't know how fast people are flowing through your different life cycles and life cycle stages, from an inquiry to a lead, to a marketing qualified lead, to a sales qualified lead, to an opportunity, to a deal, if you don't know what the velocity looks like through that, you have no way to improve it and increase that velocity. And then the last piece to marketing smarter is really around lead nurturing. Lead nurturing is what most marketing automation vendors are known for in the industry. It's the #1 reason that marketing automation is implemented. And at Pardot, we've done marketing automation for many, many years. It's in our bones. But we're excited to announce an all-new nurturing studio. Derek's going to demo this in just a moment. But the idea is it makes it extremely easy to design complex, sophisticated rules and logic and branching right within an easy drag-and-drop interface. The theme is really around almost a subway map when you look at it. And that's kind of an easy way for us as marketers to visualize what this journey through the buying stage is going to look like. Of course, you'll be able to test, simulate, and then report on these marketing programs. So with that, I'm going to invite Derek Grant up on a stage. Derek's like a taller version of me. We often say we're like Bert and Ernie when we get up here. I'll let you decide which one is which.
All right.
Derek, great to have you.
Thank you very much. So as Adam said, I'm Derek Grant. I'm actually the Vice President of Sales here at Pardot, but I was actually the 4th employee, and the reason that they hired me was because I could get stuff off of high shelves, which Adam is unable to do. That was an easy one. I'm sorry about that. So today, I'm going to be playing a couple different roles here with my partner in crime, Michael Westfall. I'm going to play 3 different characters, effectively. One marketing, one as a prospect, and one as a sales rep. And we'll talk about how each and every one of those interact with marketing automation. To start with, I'm actually going to play the role of Mary Atkins. I'm a marketing manager at Precor. And Precor, as you know, makes cutting-edge fitness equipment, including their patented elliptical fitness cross-trainer. And so I've been tasked with a pretty minor goal, well, a pretty minor job, really. It's to ensure a new product launch. And we know how easy that is. And so I'm going to be using Pardot to be able to do that. Pardot, as you see, is seamlessly integrated inside the Salesforce.com interface. And it really becomes my B2B marketing command center. You're able to take a look and see how our lead generation campaigns are performing. Also, I have a unified marketing calendar, which allows me to make sure that as I'm running my campaign, that it's not going to interfere with someone else's. I'm able to find white space in the marketing initiatives that we're doing and be able to make sure that my campaign can get top billing during that time. It takes into account things like live in-person events, virtual events like webinars, things like emails, social posts, and really any custom event that you may want to do. So now that I take a look, I'm ready to start building creative. And as a marketer, I build creative all the time. And Pardot makes that easy. It allows us to be able to build really granular lists that are based on behavior as well as demographic. One of the things that you're able to do with marketing automation to know when someone's actually engaging with it. From a very simple to use WYSIWYG, I'm able to go and make changes to my message. It's going to look and feel like your brand. That's a very important piece because you want to make sure that you're in adherence with brand guidelines. And I think I've got my email looking perfect. You know what I want to do? I want to test it just to make sure that it's going to render perfectly. And so Pardot allows you to test your email across 36 different endpoints to make sure that the creative you've designed is going to look as great to the person getting it as it does to me when I design it. And so let's take a look at an installed client. Microsoft Outlook, that's certainly something that a ton of people are using. Yeah, you know what? I think our email is going to render very, very well there. Our email templates also ship with responsive web design principles embedded in them as well that allow them to take best advantage of the form factor that the person's viewing it on. So why don't we take a look at it on an iPhone? It looks great as we scroll down. You're actually able to go in and see that our 2-column layout has now become a 1-column layout so that it's got less pinching and zooming that we have to do. Doesn't matter how good the email looks if it doesn't have a snowball's chance in Hades of getting through. And so let's check it out from a spam testing perspective. And what you'll see is that Pardot checks it across all the major spam filters. You'll notice that Outlook actually, it didn't give us an error. It told us that we had passed, but it said we got a score of 1. What does that mean? Well, if you look at the bottom, it actually gives us some feedback, and it tells us we've used the word dear in an email, and that dear is considered to be spammy. How many of you knew that, by the way? How many of you knew that putting dear, you should only use dear if you're writing a note to dear mom, you know what I mean? And so it gives us that feedback. We can go back and optimize and make sure it's going to get to the inbox perfectly. And so I want to go ahead and switch characters for just a moment. And I want to, my apologies, thank you, Michael. I've built my email template, it looks perfect, and now I want to use it in a nurturing program. And so this is the nurturing builder that Adam was just referencing. I do product launches all the time, so I actually have a template that I think is perfect for this. Why don't we go and check it out? There's our product launch template. Let's go ahead and pull that in. And what you'll see is that it's going to build a journey, as Adam referenced, very similar to a subway map, that's going to allow us to take advantage of the sales reps by scheduling tasks for them to be able to deliver content out to our prospects. And based on their response or lack thereof, the message can become more specific, it can become less specific, it can loop in a salesperson to actually engage with that. And one of the things we might want to do is test out our message and test out our program. And so here I'm able to effectively start the program. Why don't we go ahead and start this? And it's going to ask me if I got my first email. And did I open it? I was busy actually that day, so I did not open it. So let's go ahead and hit no. Well, it's going to take me down a different path. It's going to deliver a different message to me. This message actually resonated with me, and so I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I did actually download the content that's contained within. It's going to go ahead and add me to a list and go ahead and update my Salesforce.com campaign status. I did a product launch a few weeks ago and used a nurturing program for it. I'd love to take a look at that, and let's just see exactly how that is working. And here you'll see our nurturing builder. And a couple of things. Green represents the optimal path. That's where traffic is flowing perfectly. Red represents traffic here in downtown San Francisco during Dreamforce. And you'll notice a couple of hotspots over on the left-hand side. I'm able to actually go and take a look and see what it is that's prevented my program from being perfect. It gives me feedback on how I might optimize it. In this case, our email has a very low open rate. That's one we ought to pull out. Even for the people who don't go down the optimal path, we still want to give the best content available. In this case, it tells us that the form's not converting very well. There's a good likelihood that maybe we're asking for too much information on a form. And now, I'm actually going to change roles, and I want to play the role of Jeremy Jones, the procurement manager at Gold's Gym. Now, breaking character, a lot of you may wonder how they picked me to do this. It's because I take such care in my fitness, and that's... Thank you guys for the laugh, I appreciate that. That hurts a little bit. With that said, as a prospect, I actually am constantly doing research. I want to make sure that we have got the best fitness equipment in our gym. And that's something that our customers are always requesting. And really, they love cardio equipment, so Precor is always very top of mind to me. So as a prospect, I may actually go and visit the Precor website. And as I'm taking a look at it, there's a call to action here for a catalog for the 2015 products. You know what? I would actually like to learn a little bit more about that. And so here we go to a landing page that is built and managed inside of Pardot, really giving the marketer everything they need to be able to go from inception all the way through execution and really analytics on a particular campaign. So we'll fill it out, and I'm going to go ahead and request that catalog. Now, behind the scenes, a couple of things have happened. At this point, I, as a prospect, have begun being tracked. I am being now qualified based on both demographic markers as well as behaviors that I may exhibit. And also, I've been enrolled in that nurturing campaign that Mary Atkins, the marketing manager at Precor, has just defined. You know, while I'm here, you might as well go ahead and register for a webinar. So you'll see an example here of what we call progressive profiling. Our forms are smart forms. They all tie together seamlessly. And so in this case, it doesn't ask for repetitive data points that I already have. If you can shorten the form, you remove friction in conversion, and you make it easier for prospects to get your content. So I'll go ahead and register for that webinar, and I'm good with that. So let me go ahead and switch now to a third persona. I'm going to play the role of Tom Hauser, the sales executive at Precor. And so for me, my job is to make sure that I'm working with prospects like Jeremy to help them adopt and really buy more Precor technology. And so, you know, my day is pretty normal, right? I'm working in Salesforce on my forecast. I'm working in email to make sure that I'm responsive to what prospects are doing. When out of the blue, lo and behold, a notification pops up in the upper right-hand corner of my screen. This is Pardot's Lead Deck application, our real-time alerting system, giving us feedback to the fact that Jeremy just submitted a form on our website. You know, let's go ahead and dig into that if we could. And this is the Lead Deck application, completely customizable for your sales reps. But it's able to go and give them feedback at the moment of interaction about what prospects are doing. As Adam mentioned, being timely matters. You know, the stat that he mentioned from InsideSales.com was that 76% of the time, the first company to respond wins the business. And so getting there timely and being in first is so important. Let's drill into Jeremy's card and let's see what he's done. Here you can see all the activities that he as a prospect has performed. I can see that he's registered for a webinar, he's responded to an email, all the different touches that he's had. And why don't I go ahead and jump into Salesforce.com here, and let's take a look at what I see now as a sales rep now that I've been given this X-ray vision. This is the Salesforce.com console view, and one of the things you'll see is that on the left-hand side, sort of acclimating you to it, it has all of my prospects, and they're ordered by their lead score. And so Jeremy, because of the interactions he just had, has accrued a wonderful lead score, and he's made it right up to the top of our list. Over in the middle, you'll see all the different demographic pieces that I would need, phone number, job title, just helps me understand what it is I should be saying to this particular prospect, and you'll see his lead score and grade there as well. And moving over to the right-hand side, I am able to see all the different interactions. So I know everything that Jeremy did. Now, one of the things we always tell people is just because you can see what they did doesn't mean you should be creepy with our technology, or they'll throw their laptop away, put on a tinfoil hat, and move to a bunker in Montana. And so we wouldn't necessarily say, hey, we know you're just on the pricing page, but we have that visibility, we have that insight now. So I go in, take a look, and I'm ready to actually give Jeremy a call. Now, in the outside chance that Jeremy doesn't want to take my call today, may be busy doing reps, I actually have the ability to enroll him in a nurturing program from right within the Salesforce.com interface. And this does what we call faking sincerity. It allows us to be able to, you guys can use that when you get home. It allows us to be able to set up automated nurturing campaigns that look and feel like they come from me. And when the prospect responds, I'll be notified in Lead Deck, yet I don't have to be the person to send the white paper, send the case study, send the webinar. All that information happens seamlessly and automatically for me. But you know what? I'm not going to need the nurturing program today. Based on Jeremy's interactions, I give him a call, and he's ready to set up a meeting. All right, Adam, thanks a lot, and back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Derek. So I mentioned 2 vignettes. We've just seen Derek market smarter. Now we're going to learn how to sell faster. The main problem that we have with selling faster is that the current lead funnel we have and the current handoff process between marketing and sales just isn't fast enough. And when we look at this stat, we see that almost 2/3 of marketers today are just dumping everything onto their sales team. Now, why do they do this? It might be that they don't have a good way to separate the signal from the noise. It might be that they haven't defined what a marketing qualified lead is with their sales team, or it might be that their sales team is just screaming for more leads. That's probably the most common thing. Anyone can generate more leads, you just have to spend more money to do it. So that isn't really what we're looking for. But nonetheless, most companies are sending all leads directly to sales. But of course, only a quarter of those are even marketing qualified leads. So only a quarter of those leads you're sending over should ever even be seen potentially by a sales rep. So that is a huge, huge problem. It's a problem with qualification, and it's a problem with speed. So of course, we're introducing something to make sales much faster, to help sales engage earlier in the process, to help sales drive their own pipeline and get involved in that marketing process at an earlier stage. We're announcing a product called Sales Reach. Derek is going to love this because his best asset is being able to reach tall shelves. So Derek, this is an homage to you. So it enables sales reps, of course, to track all online activity. Pardot users in the room, you're used to seeing that inside of Salesforce.com. But we know sales reps, they work and live everywhere. On their mobile devices, on their tablets, on their desktops. We want to push this information to wherever they are. Same thing with nurturing. Derek showed you how to drop a prospect into a nurturing program right from the desktop. We're also allowing you to do it from any mobile device, allowing sales reps to measure the effectiveness of that marketing. So when sales sends out their own campaigns, we're empowering sales to send out their micro campaigns for the first time, they're able to see the results. Analytics is no longer just under the purview of the marketing team. A sales rep can examine their own plays. Hey, I've sent these 15 templates. I have no idea which one is doing well. Well, now they'll be able to see those results in real time, both inside of Salesforce.com on the desktop and inside of Salesforce One on the mobile device. And then lastly, they'll be able to engage with their top prospects through communities. If you've seen the Communities Cloud this week, it's a phenomenal product, one of our fastest growing products at Salesforce. We know as a company that has a really engaged community, one of the best ways that you can sell and you can market is to have your loyal customers, your brand advocates, your fans engage with your prospects and engage with your other customers. So of course, we want sales to be a part of that process as well. So Derek, you're getting a lot of exercise today. This seems to be our theme, but I'd like to invite you back up onto stage to show everybody Sales Reach.
Thank you very much. So I want to continue playing the role of the pre-core sales rep, Tom Hauser. I was in the office the other day, and my boss said a really interesting thing to me. Why are you here? Get out, visit your customers. That happens a lot to me. Get out, visit your customers. You need to be in territory. And so I'm going to actually go out, and I'm going to be in downtown San Francisco here today. And like I do every day, I start from my Salesforce One application, and you're probably familiar with this, the Today screen. It gives me all the information that I need to be able to plan my day. You'll see that I know what the weather's going to be. It looks like I need to bring an umbrella because it's going to be raining deals today. And also, from a calendar perspective, I have a meeting at 9 a.m. I will definitely make sure that I'm not late for that. But I want to highlight on the 32 hot active prospects. That's actually being powered by Pardot Sales Reach. It lets me know which of my prospects have engaged recently, and it allows me to be able to be really objective about who I would follow up with. So why don't I go ahead and drill into my hot prospects. And as I take a look, a couple of things. Terry Green from 24 Hour Fitness, I called him earlier and said, hey man, you've got to see this wonderful video, which we're going to be showing you all about pre-core. It's really powerful, and I can see and get the feedback that about 20 minutes ago, he did actually go out and watch our video. But more importantly, Jeremy Jones. Jeremy is a wonderful, wonderful prospect, but he is really tough to get in touch with. And so I know that he's engaged just a couple of minutes ago, and I know that my best chance to get him is why he's thinking about us. And so I can go ahead and from the feed drill in and get an idea of some of the last activities that he's done. I can go and learn a little bit more about his engagement with our brand. Let's go and drill into Jeremy as a prospect, and I can get some details. I can see that he's rated as a warm lead. I can take a look at his lead score and see that he has a lead score of 50. He's a 5-star prospect. And I wonder how he got that lead score of 50. Why don't I jump over to the Related tab, and here I can see all of the different interactions that Jeremy has had. A couple of things. As you take a look, Jeremy was active a couple of weeks ago right after our meeting. He went out and he checked out our pricing page, he went out and he looked at some customer testimonials, but then he kind of went quiet. And I haven't heard from him, I haven't gotten any feedback that he's engaging until today. Just out of the blue, he actually downloads a case study about how we've helped a group called Equinox, another fitness facility, be able to drive really, really impressive results. And so, I take a look at this and I think I ought to give him a call. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and I'm going to give Jeremy a call. And I get him, and Jeremy says, you know what, I'm really busy right now. Maybe next month, look, I don't have time to talk with you today. Oh, boy, I tell you what, he's blowing me off, he always does that. Well, I don't have to just go ahead and sort of let Jeremy wither and die on the vine. I actually have been empowered with nurturing programs that our marketing team has built out for me. This is back to the faking sincerity idea. It's going to be able to stay in front of Jeremy over time, but I won't be responsible for sending those emails. I can actually focus on selling. And there's a ton of nurturing programs that my marketing team has designed for me. And you can see the recent ones. I actually just recently used this 30-day nurturing program that seems to align with when he told me he wanted to speak again. And so I'm going to go ahead and add him to that program. He's going to be hearing from me. It'll take a couple days, for a couple, 2, 3, 4 days from now. It'll deliver some relevant content, and a few days after that, and a few days after that. But, my mom always told me it doesn't cost anything to be nice, and so I need to at least say thank you. And so why don't I go ahead and just pull up an email? And I want to go ahead and send Jeremy a note to thank him for having taken my call, even though it didn't necessarily work out like I'd hoped. Now, I can go ahead and write a free-form email here, and it's obviously going to be seamlessly synced over to Salesforce. It's going to be available to me in Salesforce 1. But you know what? Marketing does so many great things for us at Precor. I'm going to go ahead and select a template. And something I've been doing recently is I've been inviting my prospects to hear what our customers are saying. And so I invite them to our community, which is great. So you'll see that we have a community invite template there that marketing has designed. Now it's going to look and feel pretty authentic. You can see it automatically merges in Jeremy's name. It pulls in my contact info. It thanks him for his time today, and then goes a step further to say that we're going to add value by letting you interact with your customers. So we'd love to have you join our community. Why don't we go ahead and send that? And, I think we're good. So, I'm going to go from here and I'm going to jump into my meeting. And so I go to my meeting at 9 o'clock. As I'm going to my next meeting at 10, my phone buzzes. And I was hoping it was a yo. But it turns out it's actually Jeremy Jones. He gives me real-time feedback that he actually joined our Precor community. Pretty incredible, right? And generally speaking, when I get feedback, I do like to respond immediately, but I just talked to him like an hour ago, right? And so he's going to be frustrated if I call him back. And so, I'll just sort of make a mental note of this, and going about my day. So next week I get back into my office and I'm going from one meeting to the next, and it turns out I get another buzz. Turns out Jeremy is actually posted in our community. He's actually asking our customers how they are using Precor products in their fitness facilities. That's great news. We can jump into Salesforce 1 and take a look. And at this point, with this feedback, I go and I am armed to make the perfectly timed call to Jeremy and to really be able to have that important narrative with him. Now, you may wonder how it is that I determined to send him the template around inviting him to our community. Well, Sales Reach actually comes with a wonderful number of analytics around it. So I'm going to go and jump into my Sales Reach reporting. And it wasn't just something that I was guessing as to exactly how this template worked. I knew this template worked. Why don't we click on the community invitation template? And I know this is game changing for me as a salesperson because this has got an unbelievable open rate that marketers would blush to have, right? And a great click-through rate. I'm able to go in, take a look, see the day part that they're opening. You'll notice that it's open pretty heavily in the San Francisco area. That's because that's my territory. And so I now know what type of content is going to compel Jeremy to actually come and have that conversation with me. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Let me go ahead and turn it back over to Adam. Thank you, Michael.
All right, Derek, great job. Thanks for showing that to us. So, these new innovations, these new products that we're launching, they wouldn't mean anything if we didn't also delight our customers. You've heard us talk about Precor today, use them as a lens for our demos. Let's take a look at the Precor story.
I've been asked, is marketing automation the wave of the future? The answer is no. It's already here. Precor has a history of continuous improvement. We've gone from being a company making rowing machines for the home to the third largest supplier of gyms and hotels and commercial fitness facilities around the world.
Our goal is to create the most powerful sales and marketing engine in the industry. How we see the market, how we gain those deep insights about exerciser and customer behavior is really the key to our success.
Before Pardot, we certainly had email marketing programs, we had a strong web presence, we had web forms that captured leads, but those things weren't integrated. We needed a partner in success. We needed someone to take us to a whole new level, and that's what Sales Cloud plus Pardot is for us.
Pardot gives us a really rich stream of data about our customers to better understand their business needs and how we can support them.
It gives us the opportunity for incredible reporting and understanding of what works. How many people have I attracted through my campaign and where are they in the funnel? Which of the campaigns that I have out there are working the best? In the first year, we increased our MQLs by 45%. It's been fantastic.
We've been able to implement much more rigorous scoring algorithms and have better conversations with the marketing team about what really matters to our customers. And that means we can close more business.
A sales rep, before his call on a customer, can now go into Salesforce. All of that customer's web activities are now part of the Salesforce record. You can say, oh look, this guy's been watching videos about treadmills. I better walk in tomorrow with a special treadmill deal. That's up to the conversation.
Because of Pardot, we have a compelling advantage in building the campaigns that feed our sellers high quality leads so we can have the right conversation with the right customer at the right time.
With Salesforce, all the players in the go-to-market team can see end-to-end what's happening and work together to close the deal. Continuous improvement everywhere. That's what Sales Cloud and Pardot gives us.
All right, that is an awesome story that inspires me to be a better marketer, and it inspires me to get off my butt and get in shape. So I would love for you to hear from the man himself, Doug Johns, the Vice President of Global Marketing and Strategy at Precor. You just saw him in the video. I'd like to welcome him to the stage.
Hi, Adam.
Doug, thanks so much for being here. It's great to have you.
You bet.
So we just saw a really inspiring video on how you're changing the game in sales and marketing at Precor. And I'd love to just get a little bit on your sales and marketing process and background at Precor, and then also your own personal background.
Yeah, sure. And can you play that inspiring music in the background again?
You always want it when you're walking out on the stage. Yeah.
So Precor, I go to the keynotes just like you do, and I'm in great awe of GE and Philips, and I think there's no possible way. That's great for you. You're one of the biggest companies in the world. So I hope that I tell you a little bit about how we do marketing and that it matches you. We're B2B. That's 90% of our business. We're selling a capital good. So somebody who runs a gym is going to spend anywhere between 50 grand and maybe $1 million, and they're going to have a purchase every 3 to 7 years. So our salespeople are hunters, not farmers. They are constantly having to go out and find somebody new. You're just not going to get that repeat a year later. Our distribution channel, we have direct reps that work for the company that have a geographic territory, and they have a coverage there. And then we also have dealers that are in the same territory covering different customer segments. So our dealers call on hotels, for example, whereas our direct reps call on the big accounts, the gyms. And we're global. Only about 55% of my business this year will be in the US, the rest outside, and in many of the countries we have a full partner model where we have a distributor, and we have to provide leads for them. We also have an increasingly complex sale. So yes, we sell treadmills, but those treadmills happen to be networked. They're connected devices. Every week I capture over 1.5 million workouts of data from Precor equipment around the world, which we use. That's a whole nother story, but we use that in our product development efforts, in analyzing exerciser behaviors. And we let exercisers have accounts and experiences on their products. So that sale means a rep who used to go in and talk about, you need to make sure you have a power outlet by your treadmill, now has to talk to a gym owner about bandwidth and a cache server, right? So.
That's great. And Doug, I'd love to ask, I know you guys used Sales Cloud for a couple of years before you implemented Pardot. What led to implementing marketing automation?
Well, like a lot of marketers in this room, I bought into this notion of the buyer wanting to talk to the sales rep later. We've been talking about that for almost a decade, right? And just saw that we had a need for a few things. One was to get off of that problem of passing along every rep or every lead to every rep. We didn't have a system to do that. If college students wrote to us and filled out our form and said, could you send me some information about your company, it would go to a rep. Right? Another piece was, with that increasingly complex sale on the way the buyers are behaving, we needed a system to be able to pass the right information out to that prospective buyer and measure its effectiveness. And that's the last bit, closed loop ROI. That's the nirvana. You guys don't realize this, but the joke is, it's not a joke, it's a fact. In 2011, I bought Adam's book off of Amazon, Think Outside the Inbox.
Doug and my dad both purchased my book. Thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, there's some irony there of this analog piece of content that got me up on the stage 4 years later talking about digital marketing. So I think books aren't dead. But in any event, reading that book about the possibilities of closed loop ROI, we had Sales Cloud in place, but we weren't measuring any of the marketing effectiveness through to the end.
Okay, and Doug, I'd also love to ask, what kind of results have you seen since implementing marketing automation?
Sure. So there's a quote in the video about MQLs up 45% in year one, and that's great, and we doubled this year. But when I talk about results, for me, don't confuse toys with talent. You can buy this marketing automation platform, and you're going to see some immediate results, but it's kind of like buying a camera doesn't make you a photographer, right? If a new couple with a brand new baby goes out and buys a great Canon with a nice L series lens, they're going to get immediately on auto the best pictures they've ever had. And that might be good enough for them, but it's going to take 5 more years of practicing, adjusting shutter speed and aperture to get that awesome action shot of the 5-year-old in his first soccer match. And that's been the case with us. In the first 90 days, we were able to capture over a third of our Salesforce.com database into Pardot. We were able to cookie a third of those people so that our sales reps could see a full third of our database, their online behaviors. And that happened in the first 90 days. Over the course of 2 years, we've gotten into the kind of examples you saw on the screen.
Excellent. Well, guys, unfortunately, we are coming up on our time. So Doug and I are going to be right outside of the room. We're going to be here for all of your questions. They're doing amazing, amazing work at Precor. I highly recommend you come up and get the full story. What's even better, Precor is giving away a treadmill. Everyone who has attended, and this is the soup to nuts treadmill that you want. Derek has one. He does not. I'm kidding. This is definitely the one you want. Everyone in this room has been entered to win. We will be notifying the winner via email on Friday, so good luck to you all. Doug and I will be just outside, and we hope to see you in a minute. Thanks, everyone.